It's being called the world's worst humanitarian crisis, with millions on the brink of starvation. Now a new battle rages in Yemen over a critical supply line for food and medicine. Hello, I'm Al-Hamdani, and this is The Heat. The numbers from the United Nations are staggering. 22 million people depend on humanitarian assistance. At least 8 million are at risk of starvation. All this from a war begun 3 years ago between a Saudi-led coalition fighting to restore the government of Abdu-Rabbu Mansour Hadi against Houthi rebels believed to be backed by Iran. On Tuesday, the Saudi-backed Yemeni forces captured Hodeidah airport, with the battle for its critical port still to come. CGTN's Adel Al-Mahrouky picks up the story.
The Arab coalition against the Houthis in Yemen has been heavily bombarding Hodeidah for days. It's a port city on the Red Sea that is of great strategic importance to the Houthis. Through it, the rebels have established a support line to give supplies to their base in the capital, Sana'a. A week ago, the Arab coalition led by Saudi Arabia began a major offensive to assist the internationally recognized Yemeni government to regain control of the city. On Monday, the coalition said it has killed 626 Houthi fighters and destroyed more than 250 targets since the operation began. The UAE, the biggest contributor to the coalition after Saudi Arabia, estimates that there are up to 3,000 Houthi fighters in Hodeidah. The current battle is over Hodeidah's airport, where coalition troops say they were based on the western side of the airport, while the Houthis are in the north. On Tuesday, the Yemeni army claimed it had taken full control over the airport, thus cutting the main supply line for the Houthis. A major advance in its attempt to retake full control over Hodeidah. This offensive has alarmed the United Nations, as Hodeidah is also the main access point for humanitarian supplies, serving as a lifeline of relief from a threatened famine. The UN says the country is at risk of the biggest famine the world has seen in decades, threatening more than 8.5 million Yemenis. Earlier this month, the Red Cross evacuated more than 70 of its members in Hodeidah amid rising security threats. UN officials have been in talks with the Houthis to take administrative control over the city's ports to maintain the flow of assistance. Meanwhile, the UAE says the coalition is sending more than 10,000 tons of food supplies, which is only enough for 8,000 for just 2 weeks. In 2015, when Yemeni civil war broke out, Houthis managed to exile the internationally recognized government led by President Abdu-Rabbu Mansour Hadi to Riyadh. Last week, though, Hadi and members of his government returned to Aden for the first time in 1 year with the backing of the Western-backed Saudi coalition. Hadi's return indicates optimism on the ground. It does not guarantee an end to the conflict, though, while the humanitarian crisis Yemenis are facing persists. Adel, Mahrouky, CGTN, Cairo.